whatever situations and circumstances that come our way. And that's the reason why you're not supposed to worry about tomorrow, because the grace that you have for today is not sufficient for the worries of tomorrow. So it's only sufficient for the concerns and the issues of today. Plan for tomorrow, but don't worry about it, because the grace you've been given is only for today. When you get to tomorrow, you will have another dose of grace that will help you again to deal with the issues that come up tomorrow. And that's the reason why in Matthew, Jesus says, a day's evil is sufficient for the day. So the mercies and the grace that you're given every day is sufficient for whatever comes that day. So you already have enough grace and mercy for today. As I said, don't worry about tomorrow. Don't bring worries of tomorrow today or concerns of tomorrow today, because the grace you have for today is for today. And that's the reason why we are victorious ever. Victorious in everything that we do, because we got God on our side. My name is Frederick Njiri, and this is how we start the week victoriously and full of confidence in the power of the Almighty God. Meanwhile, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has confirmed a Todonyang attack along the Kenya-Ethiopia border, saying the government, in conjunction with the Ethiopian government, are working together to bring peace among the two warring communities. Speaking during a fundraiser in Eming Catholic Church, Baringo County, Kipchumba didn't confirm the number of those who lost their lives in the attack, however saying local authorities were working closely with Ethiopia to address the matter. He at the same time revealed that the Kenyan government has begun mediation talks to solve the tension among the communities living along the border. The attack, which happened on Saturday, saw scores losing their lives, with unconfirmed reports revealing that more than 20 people had lost their lives.
Tumekuwa na challenge jana kidogo pale border yetu na Ethiopia kwa sababu ya uhusiano ya ile community ya Dasnach na Turkana katika border yetu hapo, na kwa sababu ya hiyo kuna wananchi wetu kidogo wameumia, na tumekuwa the IG and our police have responded very well from yesterday up to now. There are some of our citizens who are yet to be accounted for, and it is a challenge which is cross border. Tunafanya kazi pamoja na serikali ya Ethiopia. Saa hizi mikutano inaendelea ya kuweza kushawishiana vile ya kusaidiana na nchi jirani kwa sababu ya border issues. Now we are working together with the Kenya Defense Forces, because it's also an international issue, to make sure that we resolve that issue. And as we deal with that challenge, I want to assure the people of Kenya that we will surmount the small challenge that happened around that place between the two communities in Ethiopia and our country in Turkana, and there should be no cause for alarm. We will do what needs to be done to keep our people safe and to make sure that we restore law and order in our border between us and Ethiopia.
Ignore the numbers that are being peddled around, because that is not the correct position, and we'll be able to share with you as soon as we affirm and reconfirm everything. From time to time there is always conflict, even the challenges we've had around banditry. It happens in the North Rift, but we are fairly contained. So I just want to give the assurance to the country that there is no reason to panic or to sensationalize this.
We definitely pray that those who are unaccounted for can be accounted for, and the families of the people who are injured and those who've lost their lives can be comforted by the Lord. Now, ousted Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has fathered his bare-knuckled attack at President William Ruto, warning him against purging the Chief Justice Martha Koome. Speaking in Meru, Gachagua alleged that President William Ruto has hatched a plot to oust the CJ for failing to play to his tune, a move he has vowed will not go unchecked. In a fiery tone, the former second-in-command dared Ruto to orchestrate Koome's removal, warning that he would never be welcome in Meru. He urged his former boss, now turned foe, to instead take on fights with his ilk and leave the CJ alone. Gachagua further blamed political leaders in Meru for being silent while the alleged purge was ongoing, accusing them of taking bribes from the top office to remain mum.
Can you fight your fellow men, si ndio? Apigana na wanau? Awachana na huyu mama. Na huyu mama anafukuzwa kwa sababu amekataa kuwa mtu ya Yesa. Si ndio? Mtasimama na Martha Koome? Mtasimama na yeye? Huyu mama akifukuzwa, nipige filimbi mtoke kwa barabara. Mtatoka hamtatoka? Mtatoka hamtatoka? Nemuka umera? Yes. We are not going to sit again. We are not going to sit again as William Ruto destroy the leadership of the Mount Kenya Legion. It's too much. It is too much. It cannot be. Pahali huyu rais ametufikisha sasa, it is too much. Semeni is too much. Yes. Na hao viongozi wote wamesaliti jamii, mumepanga mambo yao? Hao viongozi wote wa Meru ambayo wamesalili jamii yetu, wametuuza tumbo zao, mtawashughulikia? Mtawashughulikia? Saa ngapi asubuhi 2027? Saa ngapi? Asubuhi na mapema? Mtawashughulikia? Mtawashughulikia? This community called the Mount Kenya region will deal with traitors for the next 50 years. Hakuna mtu atasaliti hii jamii miaka 50. We are going to send a very strong signal kwa wale wote wamesaliti jamii ya Mlima Kenya. Wale wote wameuza jamii tumbo zao, tutawashughulikia. Pamoja na William Ruto tutafukuza nyinyi yote pamoja, one way.
Elsewhere, two CSs, Interior and that of Environment, Murkomen and Duale, respectively, took on former DP, claiming that those defending the Chief Justice were basing it on her ethnic background and not competency.
That is why unaona wengine wanasema ati sasa wanajitolea, ati wanatetea judiciary na judges ati kupitia ukabila yao, ati kwa sababu ati ni wakabila fulani. Yani judge, if a judge already is being defended to remain in office because of his tribe, that is a very serious problem in the country. I thought every judge in this country is there by virtue of their competence and capacity to lead the judiciary that we have. And I think we must find ourselves dissociating ourselves from the kind of vitriol that we've seen, where someone is saying we must keep a particular judge in office or remove from office based on their tribe. Everyone must be judged by content of their character and what they deliver in their country. And His Excellency the President is a nationalist. He's not going to get himself into this kind of conversations of shareholder here, this tribe there.
Tumekusikia ukisema ati mtu asijaribu kugusa CJ Koome, sijui unajaribu kutisha rais, mtu asijaribu kufuta kazi CJ Koome. CJ Koome ako kwa ofisi constitutionally na hakuna mtu wako na maneno, lakini tunaelewa utapeli yako na ukora yako, unajaribu kujifanya unatetee ndio akusaidie kwa ile kesi uko nayo ya impeachment. Inaitwa reverse psychology. You are pretending to be supporting CJ Koome with clear intention that you have a case before the court and you know that case will end in Supreme Court kwa mikono ya CJ Koome. So kujifanya kwako unatetea Koome ni kujaribu kuinfluence ile kesi. Hiyo yako ni kama corruption.
I want to tell my former friend, the former Deputy President, you have become pedestrian. Leadership requires confidence. Leadership requires you must tell the truth. The judiciary is an independent institution. It has got organs that oversights the judicial system in our country. Parliament is independent. It has its own standing orders on how leadership is changed. Please, The president has a contract with the people of Kenya.
That's where politics in this country have gotten us to a point now we are talking about the Chief Justice. And actually there is a talk that, a ruling or a move might be made today that might actually see the Supreme Court judges, being shown the door. We'll wait to hear what the JSC is going to say, and the courts also. Now, a delegation of elders from Kiambu County, led by former Thika Mayor John Waweru, paid a call to Trans Nzoia Governor George Natembeya to apologize on behalf of the county for what the Kikuyu MP Kimani Ichung'wah, who's also the leader of majority, said about him during the burial of the Speaker of the National Assembly's father, Moses Wetangula. The community asked him to forgive and instead seek to forge allegiance with other leaders from the community who are like-minded as the race to the 2027 general election gathers momentum.
Tumekuja kusema ya kwamba sio Kiambu ambao ilinena mambo mabaya kuhusu governor wa hapa. Sasa sisi tumekuja kusema kwa watu wa hapa, tumekuja kuleta msamaha na kuomba msamaha kwa governor wetu kwa yale maneno ambayo ilizungumzwa na Mheshimiwa Ichung'wah. Tumekuja kupeana pole zetu kwa heshima kubwa, na tukakuja mpaka na watu kutoka Kikuyu constituency ili tuonyeshe unyenyekevu wa watu wa Kiambu, kwa sababu sisi ni Wakenya na sisi tunataka kukaa kama jamii moja.
Tumetumwa na watu wa Kikuyu constituency kukuja kukuambia Governor Natembeya, hayo matamshi mabaya ulionenewa katika mazishi hayakuwa matamshi ambayo Kimani Ichung'wah alitumwa na watu wa Kikuyu constituency. Hayo yalikuwa ni maoni yake binafsi.
Sisitiza ya kwamba huo haukuwa msimamo wa watu wa Kiambu County, na hatutaki siasa za kugawanyisha watu kwa misingi ya kikabila, na tunataka Wakenya wote waungane ili tuweze kuaddress ile mambo ambayo ina affect the whole country.
Haswa tunafurahia watu wa kutoka Kikuyu constituency wametuhakikishia kwamba wao wamekuja kuomba msamaha kwa niaba ya Ichung'wah ambaye alikosea governor.
Well, the delegations have started. There is a lot of movement that is taking place. We are in 2025. This is February. And so many things are happening and happening pretty fast. It's like we are now on a downward slope headed towards 2027 election. I mean, we are moving pretty fast. Let's see how this plays out. At the same time, yesterday was a very interesting day as the Jesus Celebration Church Bishop Wilfred Lai told President William Ruto that the government needs to listen to the Gen Z who had gone to the streets to protest over the level of corruption in the country, as the Gen Zs are still upset. The bishop told the president that majority of the people in his church were young people who are interested in a good future, and that the thieves stealing in the government were hindering the Gen Zs from attaining their dreams. He warned that those who steal from both the church by not paying their tithes and from the government by not paying taxes were going to face a very rough future.
The young people, I have a Gen Z pastor here.
Vijana wadogo, niko na mchungaji wa kijenzi hapa.
Your Excellency, you will need to come and hear this young girl preach.
Utahitaji kuja, rais unahitaji kuja umsikie huyu msichana mdogo akihubiri.
She is one of my Gen Z pastors.
Ni mmoja wa wachungaji wangu wa kijenzi.
When they went out in the streets, running everywhere,
walipokimbia wakule barabarani wakikimbia kila mahali,
they were doing that
walikuwa wanafanya hiyo
because they felt that the corruption in this country is too much.
Walifanya hivyo kwa sababu walifikiria kwamba ufisadi ulio katika nchi hii umezidi,
and they could not see their future,
na hawangeweza kuona hatima yao
if things continued that way,
kama mambo yakiendelea namna hiyo.
But so
kwa hiyo
It was just a hopeless situation, Your Excellency.
Mstahiki Raisi, ilikuwa ni hali tu ambayo imepoteza matumaini.
They could not see their future.
Hawangeweza kuona siku zao za usoni.
And they said,
na kwa hivyo wakasema,
we will not sit here and die.
Hatutaketi hapa na tufe.
We will do something.
Tutafanya kitu.
And they shook the nation.
Na wakaitikisa taifa.
At that time I was doing a crusade in Thika.
Wakati ule nilikuwa nafanya mkutano wa injili kule Thika. Na kwa sababu wanaweza kumwibia Mungu,
they can steal from anybody.
Wanaweza kumwibia mtu yeyote.
Here we are not raising robbers.
Hapa hatukuzi wanyang'anyi.
We are raising men and women of integrity.
Tunakuza wanaume na wanawake wa uadilifu.
Who pay their tithes.
Ambao wanalipa fungu zao za kumi.
And they pay their taxes.
Na wanalipa ushuru wao.
Nobody expected me to say this, but I say it. Every thief,
kila mwizi,
lives under a curse.
Huishi chini ya laana.
They will die a premature death.
Watakufa kifo cha mapema.
They will die before their time.
Watakufa kabla wakati wao.
Because of the curse.
Kwa sababu ya laana.
Well, I must give credit to Bishop Lai. I mean, he was bold. He was saying things that I think the president needed to hear about this country. And Bishop Lai has been very consistent from even before I got born again. I was seeing him on TV, and he's been very, very consistent, preaching that gospel and telling it like it is. He's made quite a number of enemies, but like he says, I don't give a hoot. So kudos, and I thank God that the president went there. Anyway, you know, at times things happen in the church that leave you a little bit concerned about some of the things that, you know, some pastors do. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, slaying or seeing people being slain in church is something that's a little off. But there are people who have made this, they deceive their congregation so that, you know, people can believe they have power, you know, the church can be full of people. Like this particular case, you be the judge whether he's faking or something like that. You watch this. He throws those things, and not majority of the people that will be thrown for that thing are wearing that yellow stuff. It's supposed to cover them when they fall. So it's like it's a planned thing. Plus there's an usher there. See him go shwa chini, amenda kwenda kabisa, and then see walking like, you know, the guy is a Rambo or something. Then he realizes, okay. So majority of the people who are being hit by this thing are people who already have that yellow. It's like a leso. So if they fall, they're supposed to be covered. And that guy you're seeing is an usher, definitely. So it's, I don't know to what extent people will go, but this is funny stuff. And this is the kind of thing that is making the young people not come to church, because they can be able to see through this. It's the millennial who are very patient. Millennials are very patient. They can watch all these suckers and actually wonder, okay, what's happening? And then they won't say much. But the Gen Zs, the young people, when they see it, they just call it for what it is. Fake! Let's take a look at the headlines in the newspapers today. Welcome back. This is what the Standard screams out, Turkana massacre. And you can see the pictures of, the military and the young men with guns. And it says a violent militia attack on Todo Young Lake, Turkana, has claimed at least 20 lives and left many injured. The assailant ambushed fishermen, sparking fears of escalating violence, with casualties still unaccounted for. Security forces are scrambling to contain tensions along the volatile Kenya-Ethiopia border. And then the second page, murders of Mathare, how knife gangs are holding residents hostage. By the way, there's an area in Mathare called Nigeria. It is the most drug-infested part of Mathare Valley. I mean, there you go, you can get any sort of drugs, and not very few people, unless you're going to buy or you have somebody who's taking you through those areas, are able to access them. We passed there once because we were doing a documentary on drugs, and you get all kinds of drugs, cocaine, heroin, all of those. The police don't bother to go there. Either they're afraid or they're in partnership with the people there. But there's that part of Mathare Valley that is called Nigeria. Now, sick nation, crisis as private and mission hospitals halt SHA services. Now, if there's anything that, just gets you disgusted, is this business that our politician and these guys are playing with the lives of people. When you fail to pay the hospitals and you have private and mission hospitals not giving services, do you know how many people go to these hospitals? Do you know how many people go to these hospitals? It is a very unfortunate thing, and I'm speaking as an affected person because my mom goes for dialysis in one of these mission hospitals. So when they stop, the impact it has on people is serious, and people's lives can be lost. And so it's really disgusting when these guys play the Russian roulette with the lives of people. It's really disgusting. Get your act together. If the system is not working, just punch it back to NHIF, because this has been an ongoing crisis, one crisis after the other. And the people who are suffering are the ordinary mwananchi, because the members of parliament and the executive all have big insurances and they go to the major private hospitals. They don't use SHA. They're not accessing this. So it's very annoying that, there are people who are going to suffer when the private and mission hospitals halt the SHA services. It's very unfortunate. Now, 12 years of loan gone to waste in JKIA's tragic tale of stalled progress. I mean, there's close to 250 billion shillings that was taken as loan to expand JKIA. But even up to today, there are projects that have never been done. Somebody took that money and we are paying for it, but somebody is driving Range Rovers and the big cars around having stolen money from JKIA. And then you have Kalonzo to meet Raila Odinga over future of the opposition. Hiyo ilishaenda hiyo. Hiyo sema kimeumana. Raila, they're working towards creating a position for him so that he can act as the prime minister in Ruto's government, and they're going to create it. The Daily Nation Retirees bear brunt of Ruto M-Pesa rule. Retirees bear brunt of Ruto's M-Pesa. Move was aimed at easing access to funds by the elderly. Many citizens have been locked out of the Inua Jamii program following President William Ruto's directive that all disbursements be done through mobile money wallets. This stems from SIM registration hitches, including having national identity numbers with 7 digits or deemed too old. Then Raila's options, and then parents losing streak in court cases against private schools. For over a decade now, parents have been pushing for a court declaration that private schools have an obligation to enforce the constitutional right to education. Then defining week for Koome and top judges. Remember, there's talks that there's a plot to have them kicked out of office. Tuju, 2 lawyers, Ahmed Nasir being one of them, have sought the removal from office of the entire Supreme Court bench from office. But one thing I agree with Ahmed Nasir, the Supreme Court acted out of emotions, and that's where I think Koome was wrong. When they barred him or any of his associates from attending Supreme Court or representing anyone in the Supreme Court. That's discrimination, and that's playing rough. Ruto Raila to resolve stalemate on leaders of House committees, and then Raila's 4 option after AUC defeat ahead of 2027 election. You do hear that Kalonzo Musyoka is planning a meeting with him. Then at the back page, the sports, you have South African Cruz Widget dreams big after victory. He won the golf tournament. And then there is a picture that I've seen inside elite Kenyan forces battle against Oromo militants. So Oromo militants have found their way into the country, and so they're being engaged by the elite forces in the country. Oromos from Ethiopia. Trader says, oh, this is the Star, how Mitumba has stifled Kenya's cloth production. Trader says sales have dropped by over 40%. More tourists to visit Kenya, says Ruto. Bill sets 90-day freeze on payments ahead of polls. The government has proposed a 90-day moratorium on payments, hiring of staff and contractual commitments ahead of voting. And then the Pope has asked for prayers, by the way, in a message from hospital. Uchumi among top gainers as party ends for East African cables. The share price of the troubled retailer Uchumi supermarket surged in the week ended February 21st on news of planned restructuring. Hiyo ni moto ya kuotea mbali. Once again, once laid off, now reaping big from chicken farming. Kenya loses 189 billion annually to public holidays, says report. Then there's a story that has been happening, lakini kampitia chini ya maji. Yesterday, Sudan rebels signed a charter in Nairobi despite junta protests. And a lot has been said about this as to the whys and the wherefores. Well, with that, I got to bring down the curtains on the show to have yourself a lovely morning. Remember, at around 11:30, we'll have the county. We'll take a look at the counties in Gatuzi. And then at 2 p.m. we'll have the scoreboard, basically taking a look at some of the things that have happened over the weekend in as far as sports is concerned. But as of now, the brothers got to take some tea. Do have yourself a lovely morning.